Greetings, welcome to ATR Jesus, the elite women's basketball ministry and brand. Believe, pray, train, reign as God's will for you to play above the rim. Here we talk about the spiritual development aspect of the game of women's basketball, covering the WNBA and NCAA women's basketball, talking about cultural topics and game analysis and all those great things. But I add a biblical perspective to it. So thank you. Please for tuning in. Please click like, share, comment on this video. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I really appreciate it. You are blessed. God bless your life in Jesus' name. I think adding a biblical perspective is what's missing in this space, and I'm happy to add that. I have a master's degree in divinity, a master's of divinity, MDiv, from Fuller Theological Seminary, and the Word of God is very important. And there is a space, there's a place for the Bible in athletics, particularly when it comes to spiritual development. And I'm so blessed to be able to provide that perspective as we know that the WNBA is growing. Women's basketball, growing, XW2A. And it's going to be exciting to see where God takes this in 10 years. And this is a God-ordained push for women's basketball. And we can't tell God how to make something grow or whom to use to make something grow. And he is using Caitlin Clark behind others such as Angel Reese, Cam Brink, last year's rookie class. He is using, and then now here comes Paige Beckers, and this is going to be more other players that are going to help be catalysts that help push the game of women's basketball to a high level of branding, a high level of viewership and fan engagement. So I want to talk about briefly, this is going to be a short video because I just want to talk about the importance of Caitlin Clark to women's basketball, the WNBA, and to the Indiana Fever. I know that this has been discussed ad nauseum and talked about her impact, what she's done for viewership. But as we think a little bit more about what her impact is, this is, her second year. She's been in the league a year and a quarter now. And, she had an amazing college career. She also had a great rookie year. And, many fans were hoping that the momentum from the Fevers last year would just carry over into year two, and it would just even go higher. But that hasn't been the case. It's so many inconsistencies, so many letdowns, so many disappointments, and it's becoming just a mess. And the Fever are going to have to right the ship. And the key to righting the ship is Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark has to be the captain of the ship. She has to be the billboard. She has to be the one that is on the billboard. I don't even think their marketing was Caitlin focused. The marketing should have been Caitlin focused. I know people have a problem with that. Well, why not feature other players? Yes, you still can feature other players, but the fans have to know and be told through the marketing that Caitlin is our superstar. And that message was not sent clear enough. And I know Caitlin is very gentle and she wants to be nice and she wants to please people. But at some point, she's going to have to mature and say, I have to look at me. What do I want my legacy to be? I can still be a giver, but I can't be nice. The danger in being nice is that people take your niceness as you are weak. So we can see that she's being bullied, in my opinion, and micromanaged by Stephanie White. I think Stephanie White has some ego. She wants to take credit. The coaching staff, I didn't realize until I was watching some of the games, I did not realize that Stephanie White is not the offensive coordinator. She is not the one running the plays. It's the male coach, Mr. Kelly. He is the one drawing the plays because when they call timeout, when I first was watching some of the early games, he was sitting in the chair doing a timeout. And I was that to me, that was interesting. That was, in my opinion, my first red flag of Stephanie White. I thought that was a questionable hire because to me, she seems like she has some baggage. Just like she has some baby mama baggage, and then she has baggage from Connecticut, baggage from Vanderbilt. And I know she had a successful run in Connecticut, but I just don't think she was the right coach for Caitlin. I think that the Indiana Fever need a heterosexual male coach. This has nothing to do with LGBTQ bashing, but I think the head coach has to match the personality of Caitlin, and they have to match. That has to be how you build this. If the Fever front office had to build that from the beginning, it's like they have a buddy system. You have the president who was, worked with the Fever in the past. Then they bring over a GM from Dallas. And I wonder if the GM is like, ooh, I should have stayed in Dallas. Because now Dallas has Paige Beckers. And now Dallas is building from the ground up. So I wonder if if she's regretting coming to the Fever. I wonder if she's like, dang, I should have, stayed in Dallas and helped build, Paige Beckers up in Dallas. Because Dallas has a very, very blessed opportunity to really build around Paige and build up that franchise. Because they have a solid franchise player. And you put that with Enrique, and they can put some they're already starting to put some pieces that fit Paige's personality. This is what the Fever have to do. I don't understand why this is so difficult. You have a prize, you have a gift, you have a superstar. It's just right there in your face. Why is it so difficult for people to, particularly not the outside noise, because you're always going to have haters, there's always going to be race topics. That's not going to go away because sin is in the earth, and racism is sin. And so as long as sin is in the earth, there's always going to be racial topics, racial issues when it comes to black and white or, other ethnic or racial ethnic groups or races. So outside of all that, if I'm the owner, if I'm the franchise owner, if I'm the president of franchise or the GM, I'm licking my chops like, oh, we about to go. The Fever could have become a true brand where all the players would benefit that's on the Fever team. But instead, in my opinion, Kelsey Mitchell is competing with Caitlin Clark to be the leader, to be the leading scorer, to be the franchise player. She's been there for quite some time. However, Stephanie White, the president, when Kelsey Mitchell came in, what did they do? They scrammed. Why? Because they saw that Kelsey Mitchell wasn't going to provide that true franchise foundation, even though she's been there a long time. I like Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell has gotten better because of Caitlin Clark. But I think her issue is she's competing with Caitlin instead of working with Caitlin. She wants to be the leader scorer. So they're competing for who is the franchise leader. If Kelsey Mitchell could understand, if I work with Caitlin, we can not only win games, but we can work championships. Kelsey should be looking for Caitlin all the time. That's the one thing they're not doing. They are not looking for Caitlin. They're getting about Lexi Hall is not looking for Caitlin enough. They need to get Sophie Cunningham involved. Sophie should be getting more touches. If you have Caitlin Clark, Lexi Hall, Sophie Cunningham, and Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston, that ball should be moving. That ball should be rotating. That ball should be moving, making the extra pass. They are not making the extra pass. Kelsey Mitchell wants to get hers. I think that is the hindrance. That makes the offense very, very clunky because Kelsey Mitchell is not seemingly working well with Caitlin Clark. Why? Because she wants to be the leading scorer. She wants the attention. She wants to be the franchise player. Maybe because she feels like I've been here, or maybe she feels I'm better than Caitlin. Kelsey Mitchell has to understand that she has to be the complement to Caitlin. If Kelsey Mitchell could stand up and be a true veteran leader and say, I have to work with Caitlin. We have to be in balance. Because even last year, post-Olympic, when Kelsey Mitchell did do that, they became successful. The wins began to come. And she was still averaging 20 plus points per game. She was still getting her fines, and she didn't have to work as hard. Right now, I know that she can create her own shot. But when she gets into that mode, that mode of just, I'm looking for my shot, over dribbling, pounding the ball. I mean, I've never seen a player pound the ball as hard as Kelsey Mitchell, just to get somewhere. But if she can flow with Caitlin, and if she can remember what were we doing last year? How did we become successful? How did we make it to the playoffs last year? Kelsey Mitchell is the voice that needs to speak up. If she wants to be a veteran leader, she is the one who can help right the ship. What I mean by that is she is the one who can say, okay, Caitlin, I'm gonna call it truce. I know you're here. I know you're new. This is your second year. I know you're the superstar. If she can concede to Caitlin and build up Caitlin and help Caitlin to become the franchise player. I know it's hard, but if she can let go and humble herself and say, Caitlin, I'm going to work with you. Our goal is to make it to the playoffs, advance in the playoffs, win a championship, win the Commissioner's Cup. Things will go a lot smoother for her, for Boston, for Caitlin, and for the team. The team has to come together. Right now, they're all divided. Stephanie White has her way. The coach and her coaching staff has their way. They want to do things their style. Caitlin Clark has her way. And then you have Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston. They're thinking their way. Lexi Hall's in there, kind of in the middle. And then you have Sophie Cunningham trying to, I see her all the time at 3-point, hey, I'm open. And then you have Natasha Howard. I want to be MVP. I want to be Defensive Player of the Year. And then you have Michaela Timpson, and then you have Brianna Turner just kind of sitting back I don't know, I'm just here. I don't know what my role is. So, and I don't think the president and the GM understand the game of basketball, running plays, how the offense should go, those type of, I don't know if they understand the technicality of the coaching side. I know they have Lynn Dunn as an advisor, and she's obviously has insight and knows all the things, can share wisdom but what is the vision for the Indiana Fever? Write the vision and make it plain. The fans don't know. We know the slogan they're using. Now you know. Now you know what? Now you know that the Fever organization is inconsistent. They don't know what the vision of. They don't know if they want Caitlin to be the superstar. They don't know if they even want Caitlin Clark. They don't know. With Caitlin Clark comes passion, it comes fire. That's what draws the fans. That's what makes her appealing. And now they're trying to squash that fire. And even though the Connecticut Sun game looked maybe looked bad, but actually I thought it was a good thing. I thought it was a good thing to see. I think because why? It provided a storyline. So that takes me into my topic. 4 reasons why Caitlin needs to be successful with the Indiana Fever. Here are 4 reasons. Number 1, Caitlin is the needle mover. She is primarily responsible for the growth of the WNBA and women's basketball. Started from college. People don't want to accept that, but that is the truth. The numbers don't lie. The number, when she was out for those 4 games or 3 weeks, 2 weeks, however long it was, viewership declined 50%. So that was a loss in revenue. So the Fever lost money. They lost money with ticket sales, and I don't know their books, but if viewership declined, I'm sure fan attendance declined. Merchandise sales probably went down. Concessions probably went down. Ticket sales probably went down. But when she came back, it's gone up. Now, and I'm not going to call this a shooting slump because I don't believe it's a shooting slump. I believe it's something spiritual. I believe it's spiritual, not a shooting slump. I believe it's spiritual because after the Connecticut game, something happened. Something happened, and only Caitlin knows. Only people involved knows. But I believe it's more spiritual. I believe it's more of a spiritual attack than just a shooting slump. And that's my prayer. That's what I pray every day, and how I pray for Caitlin. because she has so many spiritual enemies that she can't see, but God sees. And so I believe her shooting slump or her woes, because I started watching Caitlyn probably, I know I'm late to the party, but like last year, and just rewatching some of her games, even watching prior to the draft is when the last NCAA tournament. I was seeing headlines of her when she was going against Angel Reese and that whole, but I never tuned in. And then her last year of college, I started watching. What caught my attention was like, wow, were her logo threes. I'm like, who is this player? I mean, she's shooting far back consistently, you know. And out of all those games, I haven't seen her like this. A 6-point stat line. How, as a coach, do you allow your superstar player to have a 6-point stat line, even if she is struggling? Because shooters, you know, sometimes do struggle from the field, but great players still win. You know, great players, you know, will go to the mid range or go to their, you know, start driving. Great players get themselves back into the groove. And the past 3 games, Caitlyn has looked spiritually weak and broken. So something has happened. I wonder if it's in her personal life, wherever it is, it's a spiritual attack. So if you are a believer, pray for Caitlyn's protection, her healing, her deliverance, her restoration, because the enemy does not want her to succeed. That's why she's getting so much hate. That's why there's so many attacks on the court. That's why they're being so physical with her. That's why she's not really being welcome. That's why there's tension even with her fever teammates. There's jealousy. There's tension, and even outside. And then the situations with coaching not putting the offense around her. It's all designed to stop Caitlyn and long term push her out of WNBA. They don't want her on the Olympic team. They don't want her to be an all-star. They don't want her to truly succeed and establish her legacy. This is why if you're a believer and you support Caitlyn Clark, you must pray for her every day. That is the only way that things are going to get better for her, is that people's hearts change and that people start to respect her. Now, she has to do some work too. This is a point of growth for her, because if she allows this to happen, she can find herself fading away, becoming a role player, and soon coming off the bench within the next 2-3 years, or just leaving the WNBA altogether. And she doesn't want that to happen. She can't fight these invisible enemies, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and spiritual wickedness. And she probably doesn't know that, because maybe she doesn't have that strong of a relationship with God. So this is why interceding, if you're a follower of Christ and a believer, a follower of Christ and a follower of Caitlyn Clark or a fan of Caitlyn Clark, this is where you can support her spiritually. So 4 reasons why Caitlyn needs to be successful: because she is the needle mover in the growth of the WNBA. And storylines and viewership. When Caitlyn is doing well, she's all over ESPN. She's all over social media. She's all over other social media platforms. People are doing YouTubes about her games. Her highlights are all over the place. Why? Because her game is exciting. Her passion is inspiring. Her passion, her fire, her competitiveness is what people want to see. Why? Because it inspires them to be great. Watching her, and then you watch her highlights over and over and over and over again, because they inspire you. Like, wow, look at that. Looks like she's doing the impossible. So Caitlyn doing well provides great storylines and viewership. Even things like what happened with the Sun is a great storyline. You have a teammate standing up for another teammate. And I hope Caitlyn appreciates that from Sophie Cunningham. Sophie Cunningham is somebody you want on your team and in your corner. And I hope Caitlyn appreciates that. And that she can see that Sophie Cunningham understands the goal, the vision. And Sophie Cunningham is like a backbone You know, she's like a backbone for Caitlyn. People say, oh, Caitlyn's being baby, da da da. It's not about that. It's about, she is the catalyst. She is the one that's going to, she's the rising tide. She is the one. And also for fever marketing and branding, Caitlin Clark should have been the center of their marketing. You have coming off Rookie of the Year. She should have been the center of your fever marketing and branding. They should be branding. I mean, they should be featuring often in their marketing Sophie Cunningham, Caitlin Clark, and Lexi Hall. And why? Because they appeal to a large audience. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what business, that's what marketing is, that's how you grow. They can market Kelsey Mitchell in a unique way. They can market Aaliyah Boston in a certain way. They have an audience too. They have a following too. But you have to look at how can we grow. And I don't think the Fever are looking at that. We don't want to hurt feelings. Forget the feelings. Caitlyn is at the top of the pyramid. They should have been marketing her. She's coming off Rookie of the Year, broke so many records. She should have been the center, but they messed up and brought in all of these veterans who also want to be the center. It's not working. The team should have stayed young. You only needed really, I think, two veterans, I think. Sophie Cunningham, I think, was a great, great, great move. And she doesn't really know what her role is. That's why there's really no flow, because she doesn't really know what her role is. I mean, when Caitlyn was out, she scored 20 plus points against the Mystics. So she has the potential to do great and be very fruitful for the Fever, but she doesn't know what her role is. Michaela Timpson, Brianna Turner have to have, if I were the coach, I would say Brianna Turner, Michaela Timpson, I would have been working them in from day one in practice, in preseason, because we need your length, we need your athleticism. If Brianna Turner, I still think that she is the pivotal piece in the front court. If they can give her, she just needs confidence, because she's long, she can move, she still has a lot of youth. She had a nice finish against Las Vegas. They need to bolst her up and say, Brianna Turner, be big. She needs to be used as a floor runner, a defensive stopper against athletic bigs, and a rebounder, offense and defense, because she was rebounding really well in the preseason. If they can build her up, she doesn't so much have to worry about scoring. Maybe if she can get 4 to 6 points a game, that would be great. And Michaela Timpson should have that same role. We need your length, your arms, and be working with them every day on defensive positioning, how to use their length, running the floor with Caitlyn, just doing drills of them running the floor and catching her passes, just basic outlet drills. When Caitlyn gets that rebound, she's calling outlet, she's pushing up the middle of the floor. They need to be sprinting down the middle of the floor, catching those passes, or going wide and cutting in, catching her full court passes, catching her push passes. Caitlyn does an excellent job of doing push passes. That way, the void that Timmy left, because Timmy was excellent. I know she had some injuries, but when they play the Valkyries, when Timmy comes back, trust me, you're going to see Timmy running that floor. And people are going to be like, dang, that's what we need. Timmy's going to run the floor. She's going to show y'all, see? Y'all should have stuck with me. But Brianna Turner and Michaela Timpson can fill that void, especially with Dantas being out. So the Fever marketing and branding was off. And I know people I know there's this thing where we want to elevate the black players. Take race out of this. Please. Take race out of this. Yes, racism is going to exist. Take race, and people online are still going to talk about race. Oh, you're just doing this because she's white. Oh, you're just doing this. If you take Caitlyn down and away, and you lift up a player like Kelsey Mitchell, even Boston. Yes, they will have some traffic, but they're not going to have as much traffic as Caitlin Clark. If you take Caitlin off of the Indiana Fever, you keep Stephanie White, yeah, you're going to have some traffic, and then they can acquire players, this and that, but it's not going to be the same as if you had Caitlin Clark. Stephanie White wants to be the star. Stephanie White, you are not the star. You are a servant. You have to take a servant role and mentality. Serve Caitlin. Caitlin, what do you need to be successful? How can we run the offense best so you can be successful? What do we need to take out? What do we need to add? What type of set plays can we run so that we can get you wide open looks? We want your logo threes. We want your three-point shot. We respect you as the all-time leading scorer in women's basketball and men's basketball. We respect you as, in my opinion, the greatest women's basketball shooter of all time. We want to see you succeed. What can we do? What type of offense can we run? What do they do at Iowa? Call Lisa Bluter and build around Caitlin. Stop trying to work around her and not acknowledge her and make her feel less than. Why are you doing that? I don't understand it. Why are you doing that? Don't you know that you can only win? The more Caitlin wins, the more you win. The more Caitlin wins, the more she's successful. Everybody on the Fever organization are going to be successful. I mean, branding are going to pour in. Branding opportunities are going to pour in. Money, revenue is going to pour in. Fans are going to pour in. Celebrities are going to pay attention to the Fever. They're not paying attention to you, Stephanie White. You have to take a servant role. Just like Jesus served his disciples. You have to be a servant. You have to be a servant leader. Stop micromanaging Caitlin. Stop trying to break her spirit. Stop hindering her. Stop making it about you. You should be very honored and grateful to be in the position that you're in. Who takes leaves of absences? Not judging. But missing the Chicago Sky game when they're playing in the United Center on national TV, playing the Valkyries at the Chase Center. I mean, within the first, 14, 15, 16 games, you've already missed 2 games. I'm not judging. It's just an observation. It creates inconsistencies. It puts pressure on your coaches. It already starts to hinder the growth of your team and the chemistry and the rhythm of your team. So my wisdom to Stephanie White is start to take a servant mindset, a servant role. Think about Jesus and how he served his disciples. The most popular story was Jesus washing their feet. Jesus was teaching, yes, I'm the master, but I'm a servant. Think about a shepherd and his sheep. How can you serve your flock? If you can serve them, that would take a lot of pressure off of you. It would take a lot of the chaos and confusion out. But most importantly, grabbing Caitlin Clark and serving her, not controlling her, not bullying her. Okay, she takes a logo 3 and misses. That's not the time to take her out. She's not a child. You have to respect Caitlin. Don't try to break her. Oh, I'm gonna show her a thing or two, or I'm gonna teach her how to, I'm gonna show her. I'm gonna discipline her. I'm gonna show her she gonna do things my way. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna work. And it's not only is it going to hurt Caitlin, but it's gonna hurt the team, because as you play stronger teams, you cannot win without Caitlin. I know you want to, You're not going to win games without Caitlin. You're not. The last year's coaching staff at post-Olympic break, what I like about what they did was they ran set plays for Caitlin. She was coming off of pin downs. She was coming off Iverson cuts. She was coming off double screens. They were running unique sets specifically for Caitlin to get shots. This is not happening with this coaching, and I don't understand why. You can run unique sets for Kelsey Mitchell. Kelsey Mitchell should have 2 or 3 unique sets. Boston should have 2 or 3 unique sets. Caitlin should have you should have a playbook for Caitlin. You should have 4 to 5 sets specifically for Caitlin Clark. You can also use those sets for Caitlin Clark for Lexi Hall and for Sophie Cunningham to shoot threes. Putting Caitlin Clark and Lexi Hall or Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham on the same side of penetration or they're the ones that Caitlin is kicking to. I mean, the Fever should be moving. They should be coming, popping threes, getting back, pushing the ball, fast breaking. They should be moving. By halftime, they should already be up by 15, 20. By halftime, Caitlin should already have at least 15 points. Caitlin should already have her damage mostly done. They should have that building demoed mostly by halftime. But it's not happening. Why? It seems like the Fever have basketball savants over there. It's their inability to serve. I want to take credit. But then when you lose, you're saying the same thing. The ums. We got to do better. And nothing ever happens. Yeah, you're going to beat Chicago. Yeah, you beat Seattle. But you beat Seattle. Why? Because Caitlin was on the floor. There's no way your superstar should have 6 points. You should be bending over backwards to make sure that she is always successful in every game. Why is that so difficult? All right, next one, because I'm starting to rant. If Caitlin is not successful, I don't see her staying with the Indiana Fever. And it's going to be a big loss. It's going to be a big loss. It's going to be crickets. Yeah, they have gained some fans. But those sold out seats, all that excitement that once was there is going to the next franchise. And it's going to be a franchise that said, oh, okay, we're going to put Caitlin first. And she's going to thrive. And then the Fever are going to look like, well, shoulda, coulda, woulda. You have the opportunity to do it now. It's still early in the season. They're not even 20 games in. But the more games are played, if you continue to stay on this path, it's not going to get better. Now you have Ari McDonald. It still doesn't fill the void of a big that you need. You need an athletic big, in my opinion. But if you can step up Brianna Turner, as I stated earlier, and Dantas, that would be helpful. Now, Ari, I think you can use her too to sub in for Kelsey Mitchell, and you can keep Caitlin on the floor. I think Ari, if she's smart, she would be looking for Caitlin Clark. Ari, that's my wisdom to you. If you're on the floor with Caitlin, be looking for her. Look to get her the ball every chance you get. That ensures the fans will continue to love you and that you will continue and you will thrive. She is the one you need to make your focus. You hear that, Ari? Caitlin is the one you need to focus on. The coach is going to tell you one thing, but when you get on that floor and Caitlin's on the floor with you, be looking for Caitlin. Where's Caitlin? When you penetrate, where's Caitlin? if you can get that chemistry with Caitlyn when she's on the floor, be that one who's looking for Caitlyn. And people start to follow. And the fans will love you and start cheering. Right now, they're not looking for Caitlyn. When they drive, Kelsey Mitchell's not looking for Caitlyn. Lexi Hall, there's so many times even Lexi Hall is not looking for Caitlyn all the time. Lexi Hall says, I need some points too. But you want Caitlyn to pass to you. See, that's not how it works. You want Caitlyn to pass to you, but you don't want to pass to Caitlyn. Greatness, championships, it has to be a divine order. Caitlyn is the superstar. And then from there, there's a role, there's a divine order. And the Fever are missing that and are reluctant to acknowledge that and implement that. There has to be divine order. The motion offense is too predictable. That double screen around the top of the key area, that is not working. People, every time I see Caitlyn go off the ball, I say, oh, here comes that weak double screen. All the defense has to do is switch. She's never going to get a clean look. All they have, unless there's a slow big. Seattle, she didn't get clean looks because that double screen was not working because they have athletic bigs who can still guard the perimeter. No adjustment there. No way Caitlyn should have had 6 points. No way. She had Erica Wheeler on her. This is where Caitlyn's game could grow. Caitlyn should have been able to take her with a fadeaway shot. Get her down on the block, give it to her, let her shoot a fadeaway. She wasn't going to take Erica off the dribble because Erica is a little bit faster. But that's still that was a mismatch that Caitlyn, you should have taken Caitlyn down to the post, given her some fees, let her turn and shoot the fadeaway. She's been working on it. No adjustments. Or do a switch with a big and pull the big out. Caitlyn can shoot. It's not difficult. If you're a basketball coach, those things are not difficult. I wonder if if Fever coaches know what to do. They're just refusing to do it. To me, that offense is a black hole. Kelsey Mitchell can create her own shot. That's what helps Kelsey Mitchell because she's low to the ground and she's quick. Kelsey Mitchell's defense is not that great. But she's low to the ground and she's quick. Caitlyn needs screens. Sometimes she can, if it's run and gun, Caitlyn can create her own shot. I mean, we've seen her do step backs. And I mean, she's not even making the moves that she was making last year. She's missing wide open layups. That layup against Kate Martin. And Caitlyn, you got to use your left hand. You got to get those left-handed layups. You got to make those left-handed layups. So, the Fever, I hope that and pray that changes are being made. And people are so passionate about the Fever and Caitlin Clark because they see the potential. They see what could happen. And they want it to happen. They want to support. They want to see the game go global. They see that the Fever have an opportunity of a lifetime with Caitlin Clark. People see it. It's like everybody can see it except the people within the Fever organization. People are like, yeah, come on, we want to cheer. We want to celebrate. We want the Fever to win. We want to see Caitlin see. We know that we can see the vision that they can become the most attractive sports team to watch. And it would just go higher and higher and higher. The Fever organization could be the catalyst. Right now, the Valkyries are becoming a catalyst. But the Fever can be the example, the head, the lead. Take the reins. So, that's my rant. 4 reasons why Caitlin needs to be successful. Beloved greats, If you would like to receive Jesus Christ as your personal Lord and Savior, please pray this prayer. Dear Lord Jesus, I want to be saved. Save me, Lord. Forgive all of my sins and be my personal Lord and Savior and my personal trainer too. Romans 10:13. Be sure to subscribe to ATR and Jesus, Believe, Pray, Train, Reign. ATR means above the rim. ATR Jesus. Subscribe, like, comment, share. It's God's will for us to be great. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a blessed day in Jesus' name.